Today we're going to be ranking every character in the Multiverse team from worst to best. Before we start, I just wanted to point out that there are 8 different characters in the Multiverse team, each of them serving their own purpose. Now, I tried my best to rank them as best as I could, however, I still felt the need to point this out. As you go through the list and as you're watching the video, when I hit the middle 4 characters, which would be number 6 to number 3, those 4 different characters, I really do feel like you can rank them however you want to. Because what makes the Multiverse team so great is that they're super diverse. They have a lot of different characters that can help you out in a lot of different situations. And again, each character serves their own purpose. So I just wanted to mention that because whenever I list characters from 6 to 3, I'm not really saying that one of them is better than the other. I'm just saying that usually the characters that I rank higher are characters that I use more often for the situations that I'm in. I just wanted to point that out so that you guys know that I really do like using pretty much any character in the Multiverse team. Just because they're at the number 6 spot or at the number 5 spot doesn't really mean that I don't like them. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button, and let's start. Number 8, White Canary. White Canary at one point in time was a really OP character, but over time she has really kind of fallen off, especially after Multiverse Armored Supergirl came out. Even though you can treat her as a support character because one of her passives make it so that Multiverse teammates have a 50% chance for the special one to not cost any power, and she also adds 25% base effect of team equipments, aka 5th gear slot. White Canary's main purpose was to be a damage dealer, and so once again, when Multiverse Armored Supergirl came out, you would much rather use your Multiverse teammates with her instead of with White Canary, and so White Canary just naturally fell off. In addition, none of her special abilities really have anything special about them. One of them can disable, but that's about it. That's a really big bummer considering the fact that so many Multiverse teammates have so many cool things going on with their special abilities. There just isn't really anything special about White Canary, and that's why she's coming in at number 8. Number 7, Multiverse Batwoman. Batwoman was supposed to be another amazing damage dealer, however, just like with White Canary, she just fell short of Multiverse Armored Supergirl's strength, and that's kind of unfortunate considering the fact that she has so many great passives. I think if she was in another team, it would have been awesome because she wouldn't have necessarily had to compete with Multiverse Armored Supergirl, but she is in the Multiverse team, so she does have to compete with Multiverse Armored Supergirl. If you look at her passives, you can see that she actually has a lot of really cool things going for her. One of her passives makes it so that whenever there's a buff, special abilities will be doing more damage, and she also adds extra time to any buff. However, unfortunately, these passives aren't team passives. They only work for Batwoman, which really does suck since one of the best things about the Multiverse team is that they all work together. Her final passive makes it so that whenever you get hit and you're not blocking, you have a chance of your combo meter not going away. Now, honestly, I'm not a really big fan of this passive, especially since 99% of the time you will be blocking, and you also don't really want to take your chances not to be blocking. I don't even have to point that out, that's pretty obvious. So yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of this passive. Moving on to her special abilities, she has 2 different effects going for them. One of them does dot damage and one of them has a chance of not costing any power, kind of like one of the passives of White Canary. Now, all this is really great and you can consider her to be a decent character. However, I personally don't like how she's not really a team player, and I don't like how whenever you're in battle, you have to spend so much time to build her up to start doing a ton of damage. That just wastes so much time, and in raids, time is very valuable. I'm not really going to call her a bad character, I just don't feel like she fits in with the Multiverse team, and that's why she's coming in at number 7. Number 6, Multiverse Captain Cold. Multiverse Captain Cold is really just the anti-Justice League team, and honestly, I'm not a really big fan of that since we already have Grid and we already have Nightmare Batman. But occasionally, Captain Cold does come in handy as he is really good at reducing the amount of damage that basic attack hits are going to be doing against you. There's really no need to be going through all of his passives and special ability effects because they all pretty much do the same thing. They either reduce basic attack damage coming your way, they reduce the amount of chance that you have for getting hit by armor piercing attacks, and they also reduce the amount of damage that fast attacks will do. One of his special abilities does add the effect for your teammates to start doing more damage. However, again, that's really no big deal, especially when you compare it to Multiverse Armored Supergirl's Special 3 that already has that effect, but even better. Long story short, like I was saying earlier, a lot of these characters serve one purpose, and Captain Cold is one of those people. He's really one-dimensional, and honestly, I don't really use him that often. However, he could be, again, useful in certain situations, but for now, I'm just going to rank him at number 6. Number 5, Multiverse Green Arrow. Multiverse Green Arrow is a lot like Multiverse Captain Cold in the sense that he is also meant to be a defensive character. He gives Multiverse teammates the chance to power drain on their special one, and if it does power drain, then it also has a chance of transferring 50% of that energy to themselves. One of his passives also makes it so that no matter what characters are on your team, he will give them extra health, and his final passives gives Multiverse teammates the chance to do dot damage after performing a special 3. Now me personally, the dot damage passive doesn't really make any sense to have with Green Arrow. I would have preferred for him to have another defensive passive so that way you can seal the deal and actually make Green Arrow worth, having as a defensive character. I'm not saying that he's bad, it's just that the dot damage doesn't really make any sense and it's kind of a missed opportunity. In terms of his special abilities, his special one does do power drain, and it's really cool because even if the enemy is blocking, it will still do power drain. And when you add that to the passive where, if it power drains, it will transfer over energy to the team, this can actually work really well, and it could be pretty fun to use. His special 2 doesn't do anything special, but his special 3 does add dot damage. Multiverse Green Arrow also has really weird gameplay. If you go fight with him in a battle, he just doesn't feel that fluid. I don't know if maybe I'm just not used to him, but I just don't really like the way that he feels. However, as a character overall, he is pretty decent, and I do like using him as a power drainer. That's why he's coming in at number 5. Number 4, Multiverse Supergirl. Multiverse Supergirl is again a defensive character, however she is really awesome. Her passives at first glance might be very basic, however they are very useful. She gives all teammates, no matter who they are, extra defense, which is really great because you can focus more on attack whenever you're changing up gear talents, and also her second passive, which only works with Multiverse teammates, makes it so that whenever they're at below 50% health, they will be taking 50% less damage. That is honestly such an amazing passive to have, and it is extremely useful in Arena where you're fighting really OP opponents. In terms of her special abilities, her special 1 does do damage over time, which can go right through reflective shields, and her special 2 does freeze, which basically does exactly what it sounds like. It just freezes the opponent. And for me personally, whenever my damage dealer gets knocked out in a really bad scenario, I really like using Supergirl's special 2 to freeze the opponent because, usually if you are late into a match, you can start spamming that a lot and it can save your butt. You could potentially knock out the final opponent just by spamming them with the special 2. Usually whenever you activate it and you freeze the opponent, you don't want to start hitting them right away, otherwise it's going to break the freeze. What you want to do is you want to wait a little bit so that way you can generate some power, and then when the freeze is about to go away, you basically do it again. However, start hitting them a little bit before so that way you can build up a combo meter and then use your special 2 again and just keep that cycle going. Overall, this character is really great. However, the one place where I feel like she falls behind, and it's not even her fault, is in raids. Obviously in raids you just want to focus on damage. The opponents don't really do that much damage, so you don't really need that much defense. And so in turn, Supergirl isn't always the most helpful person in raids. If she was, I would definitely put her at number 3 happily because I really do like using her. However, I think the number 3 spot is a little bit better in raids and can also be useful in Arena. That's why she's coming in at number 4. Before we move on to number 3, I want to personally thank our sponsors for this video, Chipotle. Chipotle is a very delicious... Nah, I'm just playing, bro. I'm not sponsored by Chipotle. I wish, though. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3, Black Lightning. Black Lightning is yet again another defensive character, and he's really great at being that. One of his passives makes it so that it won't stop power drain. However, when you are power drained, you will also heal up, which is pretty great. It's not useful in every situation, but in certain situations it will be. However, his second passive is the best part about him. Whenever an opponent performs a special ability on a Multiverse teammate, that special ability will be costing more for the opponent. That's obviously very useful in raids, as whenever you're playing raids, you will probably be fighting for all 3 minutes, and during those 3 minutes, you're going to be getting hit by special abilities a lot. And so over time, maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes in, the opponent is going to really have to wait a long time for them to start using their special abilities, which means that you won't have to worry about your health so much, and you can also have more time to be performing your own special abilities. In Arena, this passive isn't always effective because sometimes you will finish your battles very fast, and so for Arena, like I said earlier on, I prefer to use Supergirl. However, I think we can all agree that raids gives you much better rewards, and so that's why I'm going to be placing Black Lightning higher than Supergirl. In terms of his special abilities, his special 3 does do armor pierce, and his special 2 does do dot damage, and it also basically locks your opponent in a cage, which is pretty great. However, it is super annoying to fight against, but that usually just means that it's really great whenever you're using it. I have seen people build Black Lightning as a damage dealer, but for me, I just use him as support, and he's really great at it. So that's why he's coming in at number 3. Number 2, Multiverse the Flash. Multiverse the Flash doesn't really have that great of special abilities, however this man is awesome in terms of passives and in terms of being a combo builder. He's one of the few characters with a 3-hit fast attack, which makes him a really great combo builder, and when you have such a diverse team like the Multiverse team, having a combo builder on top of that basically cements him as one of the best teammates to have. One of his passives also gives you 52% crit chance and 45% crit damage, which is just insane. That saves you so much space for your gear talents to be adding health or attack or whatever you want. But his awesomeness doesn't stop right there. He also has another passive that works kind of like Dr. Fate's passive. He reduces power cost for every single special ability for his Multiverse teammates. Multiverse teammates' special 1s will cost 1 power bar less, and special 2s and special 3s will cost 2 power bars less. He also has a passive where whenever he specifically gets hit by a tech opponent's special ability, he will basically dodge it and ignore it and come back and slam down on the opponent. This will activate 3 times per match, and also depending on how much attack you have on the Flash will depend on how much damage the slam will do. Again, in terms of special abilities, he's not really that great. His special 3 has a stun chance, but pretty much every character now has a bunch of stun resistance, so it's basically useless. However, that doesn't matter because again, this guy is a beast of a combo builder and a beast of a teammate because his passives allow you to have so much damage. Multiverse the Flash is honestly one of those characters that you really want to have on your Multiverse team because he's godly. He gives so much to his teammates, and that's why he's coming in at number 2. Finally, coming in at number 1 is going to be Multiverse Armored Supergirl. I can literally end the video right now and everybody would understand why, because everybody knows that Multiverse Armored Supergirl is hands down one of the best characters in Injustice 2 Mobile. Yeah, she has her weaknesses, but overall, she will basically cripple any enemy that comes in her path. Her passive 1 makes it so that whenever she starts the battle, depending on how many Multiverse teammates you have, she will start off with 1 power bar per Multiverse teammate, which in Arena is pretty much one of the best passives out there. Obviously, we all know that Multiverse Armored Supergirl does a lot of damage. The fact that she can already start off doing a special 1 or a special 3 because you're 99% of the time going to pair her up with Multiverse teammates is insane. It is very, very awesome, and it can also be useful in raids because at the beginning of the battle, you can perform her special 1, which will apply burning. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Moving on to her special 2, whenever there's a might opponent, she will get 25% more power generation. This isn't the greatest passive in the world, but it is a really great bonus to have, especially with such a great character. Her final passive is called Interruption, and what this does is basically whenever you tag out from a Multiverse teammate and there was an opponent performing a special ability on you, Multiverse Armored Supergirl is going to slam down and it's going to stop that special ability, and it will also give her 4 power bars. This is one of my favorite passives because not only is it stopping special abilities to be performed on you, which will in turn save you a lot of health, but it also allows you to get power bars really, really quickly. In terms of her special abilities, she has a lot of really great effects going on for her. Her special 1 does damage over time, which will go right through reflective shields, and it will also add burning. What burning does is it will halve the opponent's defense, and it will also basically take away any sort of crit resistance that your opponent might have. Her special 2 is a little bit more defensive instead of offensive. What it does is add defense and also crit immunity for your Multiverse teammates. Finally, whenever you perform her special 3, it will add reflect immunity, it will give your teammates more crit chance and more crit damage, and finally, whenever you perform a special 3 on a burning opponent, it will do additional damage. It will specifically do 40.18 more damage. I know that's a really weird number, I don't know why they picked that, but that's what it is, and it's really, really great. Overall, there isn't much to say about Multiverse Armored Supergirl aside from the fact that she's an absolute beast. Whenever you have Multiverse the Flash paired up with her and you have a bunch of attack on her and you perform her special 1 and then her special 3, beautiful things begin to happen. A lot of really big numbers start to pop up and it's really, really fun to do. And even though sometimes when I'm doing ranking videos, it could be a little bit difficult to find the number 1 spot, I think we can all agree that the number 1 spot for the Multiverse team definitely hands down easily goes to Multiverse Armored Supergirl. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it. Again, this is just my opinion. If you have yours, go ahead and leave it down in the comments section. Like I said earlier on, the middle 4 characters, you can really arrange them any way that you want. This is just my personal preference. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe and stay clean. And Chipotle, please sponsor me. I love your burritos.